Okay. Bluetooth. Where the fuck are they? Sup? Nearly there. Um, um, um. Oh, can you see me? Oh, can you wait? Hi. Hello. Sorry, I forgot that I set YouTube to auto begin when I loaded it up. Yeah. Okay. I'm just doing something really quick. I'm just gonna turn off my my thingamabobber text boxes just real quick. So I just want to do something like kind of important. We're making a big change today. Um, I'm making a big change, and I don't actually know if I'm going to be able to get away with this. Hello, Steam Deck. Steam Deck, please work. Please don't. Where are you going? You're loading up? Seriously? Is it not? It's not loading up. Um, can I go through the Stream Deck software? Elgato. I'm trying to sort of like get it to off. You're so annoying. It's so annoying. Okay, what I'm gonna have to do, I'm trying to change things up a little bit today. Oh, I'll just have to do it manually. Um, and we'll put Spotify back up. What I want to do today, and I'll make myself big. What I want to do today, do you see that listening time button over here? A big sort of bit of feedback I've received about these reviews is that I often interrupt the listening of the song to talk to chat. And for a while, I've been like, no. I want to talk to chat during the songs, but I've been thinking about it, and a lot of people sort of like they started subscribing because of the review videos I did, where I was just going through the songs in one go. And I think it's time for me to show some love to that because I appreciate the support. So if you see a listening time thing here, it means that I'm listening to the track and I probably won't be paying attention to the chat. that I think will be a good way of compromising with people who want me to just focus on the songs during the live streams. And then what I can do in between songs is I can turn that off, and then basically we'll be able to go from there. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't usually make compromises. I'm not one for them. But I think that this is a good start way to do things. Hopefully you'll understand. That will include donations. Just so people don't think I'm prioritizing donations over like the actual process. But I think from now on, what I'm going to do, and this will include the Jay Chou album reviews, is I'm going to simply review the song and then talk to the chat. Hopefully that makes sense. Especially because we have 12 to get through today. I don't have the time crunch that I usually do. But yeah. Also, side note before we get into it. I don't have lyrics for all of them, but I do have lyrics for 10 of them. So if we go into the main screen, you can see I've got lyrics for a lot of them. That was another thing from the Faye Wong thing. To be fair, finding the Faye Wong lyrics was a bit tricky. There were 10 songs, I think, if I'm not mistaken. 10 that I could get lyrics for. So we're just going to see how we go, okay? Sup Martin, Yi Top, Jay, Ludinabox, Isho, New Tony, Martin Wang, again, Lukit Fan. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through this review. We're going to listen through each of these tracks from start to finish, and we're going to hear what we think. I've got a cough to start it. Oh, hang on. Just before we get into it, I'm going to turn the volume down on here. Turn that down to 60, right? Because you guys like it at that 60 point. There you go. You guys seem to like that. So that's a good volume for you guys, I think. Man, I've been doing reviews all week. It's been silly. I've had like three reviews a day. Yeah. This listening time thing will also be continuing for the fan requests as well. As if I talk in between, it's not really fair to people who put their requests through, you know? Anyways, what is the first track we've got? Into English. Translation into English. All right, let's go. Let's do this. So let's just practice listening time, okay? Interesting effect with the vocals here. I'm not super familiar with the way he's approaching it. Oh. Okay. This is just his earlier stuff, isn't it? So it's a little bit more raw than what I'm used to from some of the later stuff that people send through as part of the fan request live streams. I do like the sound of the drums though, and there's a really interesting effect he has on those guitars. Really eloquent piano lines. And just little synth sounds that come out of nowhere that kind of sound like police sirens, a little like, bow, you know, like that. To be fair, I like the effort behind it. I think that there's a lot of potential within a track like this. It's certainly an interesting way to start an album. You can tell this was like released before Spotify potentially. And like the dynamic range of this recording is fantastic as well. You have these really nice parts that kind of go up and are really eloquent. And then you have stuff go back down again. And I'm not really sure how I feel about the amount of different layers in the mix. Interesting choice to have that distortion on the vocals though, for sure. And that shimmer there of the strings as well, occasional. There's great attention to detail. I enjoy that we are coming in with that resonance there, that we have a nice change of palette cleanser before we go back into a second half of like a chorus or something like that. Yeah, the broken chord has got going on the guitar as a nice layer on top. Like the synth sequencer, it's just wild, man. It's absolutely wild that we managed to get away with this. Part of it is because of the panning, I suppose. But there's that sizzly guitar tone with the synthetic elements in here. I think this was honestly ahead of its time. A really somber drum tone, like I feel as if the drums are lacking a little bit of punch. They sound almost too rounded, as if we were trying to get a little bit too misty and kind of fragile and mystical with that master chain. Like they're side chaining, but I think they could have used a little bit more sort of cut. Like he sounds like he's really calling out for help, and we're gonna have a look at the lyrics after this, of course. Yeah, really unusual decisions being made with these vocal parts. I'm wondering if the distortion is used as more of a way of sort of exaggerating the emotional gravity of the situation, or if it's just because he thinks it sounds cool. And that chirping of the synth on the right side, it's unusual. It's unusual. It kind of sounds spacey and trippy, and I'm not really sure if I particularly like it or not. And like, you know, like some people will say, oh, you just don't understand it. Or, you know, it's like, no, for real. There's understanding and then there's liking. I can understand things that I don't like. All right. I don't like the fact that I mean, I can't really say I dislike that it's a bad. I don't think it's a bad song. I mean, we do have a semblance of a main motif going on there that we sort of split between, but at the same time, it's almost as if you know, we are afraid to just have one tone go throughout without the consistency of that drum line. Like, there's a brightness to his vocal performance there that I enjoy, that kind of contrasts well with parts of the drums. And we were finishing off sort of messing around with the tempo a little bit. And we're just finishing that. Why has this track got so little love and appreciation? It's kind of sad to me. It's kind of sad to me a little bit that it's got so little love. But, you know, all in all, what do I think about that track? I think that as without the context of the album or the understanding of what the track is about, when I listen to this track from Eason Chan, I'm hoping that it provides context for the rest of the album. It will be a shame to me if we didn't keep going with these guitars and drums and the really kind of out there, kind of twisty synthesizers, and the emotional tone there, like the desperation that comes through in that vocal performance there. It's very emotionally mature. Don't get me wrong. It's just yeah. I've got mixed feelings on it. I can respect the musicality of it and the effort that's put in, and it's very different to a lot of the stuff that I've listened to throughout my reviews in this way. I think Eason is like one of the more unique specimens. Um, kind of like Khalil Fong or even stuff from like Terrence. Terrence? But it's okay. It's cool. I'm gonna find the lyrics and I'll turn off the listening time because I need people to help me figure out what these tracks are about. So there we go. So chat time. The first, fifth, and 10th are composed by the same person, says Huson. Really? Wait, so are they not composed by Eason? How much is Eason doing in this album? And Boland says there's also the cultural differences of what we like in music. I suppose there is. I suppose there is the difference there. Although I think that at this point in time, with the amount of reviews I've done, I've heard music from all over the world. And I'm hoping that I have a reasonably neutral sort of perspective on it. Even I can't really tell how I felt about track one. Yeah, same. It's like I think that there's it's a show of his musical ability and prowess, but I also feel as though it doesn't really have a home yet, and I need to listen through the rest to sort of understand it. Oh, oh no, really? He's a singer, not a composer. That's a shame. My understanding was that Eason was always a composer. I don't know where I got that from. That's been my impression of him this entire time. That's why I was calling him unique. I mean, he still is, but at the same time, I almost feel sad knowing that now. That's a shame. I still think he's a great vocalist, but it just takes a bit of the shimmer off, Tear the uniform apart like releasing petals, dissolve in the universe. I'll not be afraid of loneliness. I hope this is the right song. Yeah, I think it is the right song. Yeah, it is. I'm pretty sure it's the right song. That fireworks burns down. How does it feel like New Year's Day? It's a road all night and a piece of paper or Christmas. Piece of paper or Christmas? What? Does he write his own lyrics? Like, is he a lyricist? And the fossils can't be saved till you know God's will. The eggshell is forced to rot before it can be born to open the eyes. Invincible in the world must not be afraid of rot. So is it saying that, like, effectively this track is about not being brave enough to face the world for what it is, even if you know you're eventually going to become nothing? Is that it? It's a very heavy way to start an album, though, isn't it? Really heavy way to start an album. Oh no. Oh guys, the illusion's being shattered. Don't worry, I'm not gonna go on a rant. Okay? Oh, okay. That's very new to me. That there is an example of a cultural difference. Here in New Zealand, for example, we don't have that. Most people write their own lyrics and make their own music. Even from back in, like, I don't know, the early 2000s and stuff like that. To be fair, there's stuff that you can gain from the opportunity to work with people who are dedicated in certain areas. And I think that, for instance, with Jay Chou, Vincent Fang was a phenomenal pairing. But thank you for the help understanding this. I appreciate it. I'm learning about Eason today. Maybe other people will learn stuff too. But yeah, I think that's what the track is about. I think it's about the thought, the idea, the concept of being alive being the thing that's consistent and not taking it for granted and not being afraid to go forward out of the shell. Yeah. Mr. Cow? Track number 2, Mr. Cow. Am I correct? Mr. Cow. Mr. Cow. That's very weird. Really? Well, on that note, labels usually have large numbers of composers to backing each singer. We're gonna listen through Mr. Cow now, so I gotta put the thingy back on. Listening time, you see. For track number 2, Mr. Cow. Oh, this is very perky all of a sudden. What's going on here? Okay. So you don't know how to feel about it anymore because Fee isn't composing his own stuff a lot of the time. I mean, like, I think I need to know who actually produced it now. I need to know who wrote it. I need to, I really need to understand more about this because I feel like I've only got a very shallow perception of what this is all about. I like the fact that the piano is slowing down. This is a lot more somber than the previous one. It's a little bit upbeat, but it also maintains a sense of innocence with the way that the piano is voiced in that higher range, along with Eason's much softer vocal style. Great range as a singer. And his voice is distinctive as well. Like, I can't think of anyone off the top of my head that has a similar vocal style to him, or a vocal timbre. He sounds like an old soul. Does that make sense? Great use of these buzz rolls here. Yeah, he's got this kind of tone to the drums here where it sounds like we're going on like a pipe band retreat or something like that. It's like a nursery rhyme or something. Yeah, I prefer this to the previous track. What I love about this track as well and the songs we've had so far is that there's dedicated, like, oh, this is a lead guitar on the right part, and this is like an extra sort of flute bit on the left or whatever. You know, like he doesn't have things lasting for the entirety of the time. He knows how to keep them short and sweet. But that kind of waltzish kind of groove with the strings on top. Lots of space for the bass in the low end. Oh, now that's a thoroughly exceptional lead guitar line there. That was fantastic. I mean, I know that Eason is in the center, so he's kind of taken the focal point of the entire mix at the moment. So that's fine. If he wants to sit there like that, that's cool. I'm just glad that they mixed this correctly so that ascended sort of melody on the right has a place. Again, it's occasional, but it's impactful because of that. I'm not sure why it slows down like that though. This is exactly why I kind of get the impression that they're not playing along to a click track. The musicians within this band are just really good at what they do. Oh, great cymbal shimmer there. Great dynamic range in his vocal performance. And nice major lift at the end. Really pretty. Really pretty. And he just sits there. Again, this kind of reminds me of some albums that I've listened to recently where there's like a vague disconnect between the themes that are discussed. Like if I compare this to the intensity, the animosity displayed in the first one, like with the egg coming out of its shell and stuff like that. I don't really know. I like this one, like in regard to how it made me feel. It's a lot more gentle. I think Eason's vocals stand best when he is kind of optimistic and proud, and going between his like soothing lullaby voice. It was fanciful, almost like we were on a parade or something like that with those strings and the peppiness of those triplet kind of grooves. That again are akin to a waltz or a dance through life. And there was a lot of little bits of ornamentation, like those lead guitars on the right and stuff like that, to keep it fascinating throughout. But yeah, no, I'm happy. I'm happy with that so far. And chat. Eason is a great singer. Says who's Eason? Eason is a great singer. He is. Boland says this is a great album to review. This is a special album for Eason. Yeah, I'd agree. I do think it is a special album. So far, it's kind of it helps me to get context for where he came from. Yeah, that's a fair point. Best of the album, this incredible lifts. Yeah, there are, like, for me again, like I'm like a dopamine fiend. I need my hits to come in really hard, but I can appreciate what's being done here from like a musical sort of a harmonic perspective, and I think that he's on the right track with again those shifts there and the peppiness of some of those string parts, especially. It's really cool. Melvin T says Mr. Cow is more like describe the character as stubborn. Oh, okay. Which makes me kind of even sort of more intrigued by it. Because it doesn't necessarily sound like someone who is stubborn. This is the album Eason Stop Being a Love Song Singer. I see. Well, I think that's great. I think that lots of people do love songs, and I think it's fantastic to explore stuff outside of love songs. Because, in my opinion, while I understand why people make love songs, and in my opinion, while I understand the value of them, and especially in markets like this, where there's a big fan base for them, I also consider that there's just so much else to talk about. Cantonese album, that's cool. Again, I still can't really tell the difference with the languages, but I will take your word for it, and I think that's dope. Yeah, no, I don't. I think this is one of those tracks, Blue Dinner Box, where it's easier said than done, right? Easier said than done. Cannot turn head. Yeah, I think this. Oh, hang on. Can I make it big? Here we go. Oh, yeah. It does kind of sound like they're describing someone who is stubborn and maybe missed out on opportunities to be able to because of that. Double marriage. Pitied either's fresh misfortune. Was not critical. What? Oh, so they're being stubborn about waiting or something like that, or stubborn about leaving or something like that. Okay. Now I do not strive. The sweetheart has not still hugged. Had the such atrocity. Gonna level with you guys. This may not be the strongest translation, but we're doing what we can, right? I'll make this bigger for you guys on the screen. Yeah, that's a bit bigger for you. That should make you happy. Ming is obviously unhappy. Unique. Future term. I'm a cow. So we eventually admit that we are the cow. We are the stubborn one. We are the one that is not wanting to move. We are the one that's not wanting to shift for change. I think that's beautiful. I think that's great. I think it's a really cool song. It mellows out the intensity of like the stubbornness within it. Yeah, great job. Great job. Yeah, awesome. So that's track number 2, Mr. Cow. He is stubborn. So this is Sunsets, apparently, track number 3. Stubborn and missing the opportunity. I see. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know, but I'll take your word for it about the uniqueness of it. And, you can never stop being a love song singer. I see. Well, on that note, we have Sunsets by Eason Chan for track number 3. So let's have a listen through this one now, shall we? Okay, let's go. Dude, I'm having like JHL flashbacks, which is how completely different these tracks are. I'm starting to understand why it's so normal for a lot of the people that watch these reviews, but it's so weird for me. I'm starting to understand that now. I get it. I get it. I liked the use of that, though, that really sweet string instrument coming into Eason with his vocals here. Really fascinating chord progression here. He's not sleeping on these progressions and bass lines. Oh, that was like a little doorbell on the right side, wasn't it? Dude, you cannot have an album from this type of music without a bell tree. Yeah, it's a very gentle performance from Eason, very mellow. All those charming little harmonies here. Nice grooves on the drums as well. Ooh, that's an acoustic kit as well. Hey, that head voice. Good job. He's exploring his range in this song. It's really confident and competent. I enjoy this. I enjoy this one. Yep, chef's kiss with this piano transition. Has he got like a xylophone on the right side or something like that? Yeah, that's an interesting place to position that, but I think the filtering and the high pass I've got on it just allows it to stand out. Great job having the strings hold it all together. His string work is phenomenal. Yeah, he absolutely smashed those vocal harmonies. I mean, like, it's just so soft and gorgeous and fluffy. It sounds so personable. I think when I listen to Eason, he sounds like the kind of dude who you could just sit down with and have a beer with and just talk and just learn from each other. It's such an intimate experience. And I think when you are not listening to someone live, you need to be able to convey that through an album nonetheless. Great job with that finish. It's a very gentle finish. Overall, like I think that the second and third tracks are my favorite at the moment. I'm not sure which I like most out of two and three. Um, before I move on, this music makes me sort of nostalgic for some reason, and it's a weird feeling because as a music reviewer, if I can't relate to what's being spoken about and if I can't understand the language, why do I feel nostalgic? I think it reminds me of some of the string work from like the 70s and 80s and like the pop and soul stuff. Um, it kind of I think it makes me nostalgic as well because there's some Christmas music, and I know Christmas is coming up in a few months. Still not quite there yet. Still not time to put up the Christmas trees, but um, when yeah, when I hear this, I hear some classic Christmas ballads, and just the way they sound and they resonate, and it wraps you up in a fluffy blanket with a bit of hope in there. Sometimes it reminds me of that, but that's a really difficult thing to achieve naturally, and Eason just manages to smash it out of the park. It wouldn't surprise me if Eason did do some Christmas stuff. I'm not sure if Christmas is a huge thing over in his part of the world, but yeah. Anyways, let's check the chat, see what people have been talking about. Been talking about. Um, wow, you guys are talkative. That's cool. I'm glad people are chatting. Don't feel like you can't chat when I'm listening to stuff. Okay, more than welcome to talk stuff. I'll check it out afterwards. Um, so the ninth one is composed by. So cool. So we got some people who are doing sort of duties across the albums. And thank you for that explanation, Melvin T. Song of the Year. So it's very popular. Okay. Song to commemorate Anita Mui, another iconic Hong Kong singer. Well, I think that was a spectacular tribute. Spectacular tribute. Yeah, super chill, nice and genuine person. Great. The singing is like storytelling. That's all sort of. Yeah, so he's super chill, but he's also very talkative and will talk nonstop, and he's got a fun personality. And he does have Christmas stuff. Yay! That makes me very happy. You can be sure that I will be checking out his Christmas stuff. Actually, no, I got to be careful about committing the stuff. I'm not. I don't know what Christmas will be like for me. But I would like to do some Christmas related reviews or some live streams of Christmas related stuff. I don't know if I can get away with reviewing like a lot of the classic Christmas stuff because they are gonna monetize the crap out of that, and it could even be blocked. But we'll find out. Lonely Christmas. Why is that familiar? Yeah, we've got Sunsets by Eason Chan. Great. The page isn't set up to shrink. Here we go. Even the biggest diva has departed us in a blink of an eye. The ever grassy hill has suddenly become an ant hill. Yeah, even the biggest. Yeah. So we're automatically sort of like, talking about what the situation of the chat. As if the universe has rejected the concept of time. Damn, dude. Yeah, so we're talking about, as people, I think people have mentioned, like the temporality, how temporary things are, and how you need to make the most of them while they exist. Sunsets and sunrises. As seasons refuse to wait, so offer a kiss instead. A scenic island can be destroyed in a mere second. See, these are incredibly meaningful and like graphic lyrics. Like you can just imagine that being destroyed. It's very intense, but I nonetheless appreciate it. Because that helps you to sort of understand more of the track itself. Every second of every night is if a thief is stealing away my youth. Damn, man. Damn, and he finishes with, of course, it's a scenic view, as sunsets usually are, but just like seeing it in real life, it is never the same. Well then. Well then, man. Yeah, no, it's a fitting tribute, I think, but it also reminds us to make the most of life, because you never know what will happen. You never know what will happen next, man. Aha, 1666 into English, so it doesn't give me the title. But that's okay, we got track 4. And apparently it's a very sad song. I think the lyrics are excellent. Yeah, me too, Melvin. Absolutely. I'm really happy with the lyrics so far. They're one of the strengths of the album. But yeah, man, let's go. Track number 4. This hasn't got a lot of love, but we'll try and figure out. I unironically adore this parallel major that's going on as a third chord in this progression. I love how it lifts there. It's kind of quirky, kind of weird, and like it's that weird kid in class who's actually a really dope person. You just have to get to know them a little bit. Okay, this is a little bit. I think the tracks that I listen to less are the ones with more sort of unique and like original voicings of different parts. Like we've got some unusual guitar tones going on here, some little blobs and stuff like that, which is maybe not what people were used to around that time. I like that parallel minor or something like that they've got going on here, an unexpected chord to kind of keep things interesting and keep you on your toes. Great choice here. Yeah. I've heard chord progressions like this in tracks previously. Sometimes you even get them in like really heavy genres like death metal and stuff like that. And that may seem ridiculous, but I have heard stuff like this in those genres. Just really weird, out there decisions that kind of twist and turn and make you shake your head or kind of break it for you. Really phenomenal layering of those guitar parts and the subtle little shimmers of those, and then the vocal parts on top and the strings. It's so full of life. See, there's just more and more, man. It's a shame this hasn't got that much love. Okay, and we kind of stopped a little bit early, which is unusual as well. I like the twist. I like how unpredictable it is. I genuinely feel like this is one of the most... I would argue this is one of the more influential albums that I would have listened to throughout my time doing these types of reviews. Like from this part of the world, I can understand why it would have affected artists who came in a little bit later on. It's not just the actual musicality of it, like the chords and the bass lines and the drum grooves and stuff like that. And it's not just the vocal performance. And it's not even necessarily the production, but just how the things are played, like the gentleness of those strums and a little bit like that. You could tell each of these instruments has actually been performed. Like you've had a person behind it pressing the buttons and stuff like that. And it sounds like someone kind of in their bed, not in their bedroom, but like in a big studio with lots of toys to mess around with. And just poking and prodding until they get the right mix. Oh, great job. Verging on experimental. And this is very weird, but I dig it.
似落霞，等消化。算吧。
I'm not sure what that track was about. Like, to be honest, I appreciated the work that would have gone into arranging it, to choosing the voicings for those different instruments, to know when to sort of switch things up, especially with that drum kit at the end. It was kind of unusual, but um, kind of peppy and it was fun. Actually, you know what? I think this was a really fun track. I think that this is Eason continuing to explore himself as a musician. And this is the kind of stuff I really enjoy because it is pushing the boundaries of what people might be used to and what people might tolerate within the genre. I think that there needs to be more of this, just because you need. Otherwise, music will remain the same, and even if people like the same stuff, you're gonna eventually get bored, no matter how loyal to the fan favorites. What else do I want to say about this track before we move on? I think that I think that the unusual choices with like the chord progressions and switching between those parallels um made it seem more like a journey rather than something that was kind of thrown together in a lab and spat out. And I have nothing but love for that because I think that songs should be a journey. I think that if you just go verse, chorus, verse, and just kind of say fuck it, what's the point, right? What's the point? I think that this is the attention to detail combined with the solid consistency of the vocal performance and the production value, especially with the panning and like the compression and EQing stuff, is just really really cool. And yeah, so what's Chat been talking about? The lyric, wow, okay. The only reason Jay Chow became a singer was because all his weird tracks were rejected and Jay Lang loved it. Imagine. Imagine if he hadn't been given the chance. It's almost like taking risks in the music industry can be an inherently positive thing. This is the first Cantonese song I really like, and we started to listen to other Cantonese artists, even though I can't speak the language. I think that's great. We've got a sort of a gateway drug for a different language. If that's not success, I don't know what is. I kind of struggle with this album. Fair enough. Yeah, people are pretty excited for that fifth track. People think his hairstyle's weird. Dude, I mean, I can't really talk. My hairstyle's been weird ever since I was friggin' born, dude. I love that. I think it's great when stuff's weird. But it's okay if you think it's weird. It's whether it's the good kind of weird or the bad type of weird. It's also worth remembering that was back in like 2005, man. The edgy kind of the edgy kind of emo stuff was coming in at that point, and people were experimenting with all sorts of silly stuff. It was really good fun. I miss it a lot. One thing is the songs all sounded like the musicians are all very involved in tweaking, adding a bit of personality. Absolutely. Let's just take a quick look through the lyrics before we move on to the next one. Yeah, let's call them fun. Farewell, she doesn't have a song, still asks me so easy. Elegant. Diary, Low and Divination. I want to kiss her again, but I can't pinch the clip. What does pinch the clip mean? What does that mean? That's very weird. Yeah, I think this is about someone sort of watching someone else kind of have their relationship or their life kind of messed up by someone else, or maybe they're waiting on someone to accept them. I don't know, man. It kind of seems like he's meandering through life within the track, the overall tonality of it. Unsure of what's going to happen next. Um, yeah, and again, then he's just like, screw it, I can't be bothered with this. that's my interpretation of the song. 16:6. Faux quoi? Faux quoi? Do English singers compose all their tracks? To be fair, a lot of major label pop artists will get people to produce it for them. But I would assume at this point that they they don't. Like, look at Miley Cyrus, for example. Miley Cyrus, man, she was Hannah Montana for a while. And she wrote some of the songs on her album. Generally, in like a lot of English music across most genres, lyricists write their own lyrics. And that's like no shade towards Chinese music. There's no shade towards anyone else. It's no shade. It's just kind of what happens. And Jay says, I don't know why I'm here. You're here because we're here to have a good time, man. Although I think I'm being pretty disciplined at the moment with keeping the listening on. So we're going to listen through this track now. Track number 5. Good listening time. There we go. We have listened to this, but we're going to do it again. I like the boom, whoa, whoa, and the fuzziness and the triplet grooves come back from like what we had in the second one. Great dynamic range there. He's nice and quiet there. It forces you to listen more carefully. Oh, the plucking, the tremolo. Ooh, very unsettling. It's kind of ethereal, spooky, like a ghost or something like that, you know? No, I'm not a fan of that transition. Like, I'm glad that we had the theremin or whatever the hell it is at the top continuing throughout. It added some sort of like connection between the two. But also, I think that it was just weird that we went up for that. In my opinion, it was weird we went up there. I was expecting it to be consistent or down. I don't know. I mean, like, from a perspective of him as a singer, he's singing phenomenally well within this album across it, you know, like, really comfortable within his head voice. The bits of vibrato and legato ornamentation and stuff like that is absolutely sensational. Oh, we're switching back to that. I think it's better when we go back down to the verse rather than going up. And it seems a little bit unnecessary to me, but we'll keep going. Okay, development of those guitars in the low end? Panning's weird on them. That is a theremin, isn't it? That whoa, 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 whoa. You know, that is a theremin, right? That, what else would that be? Yeah, I'm kind of digging it a bit more now. I'm okay with it. I'm alright with it. I'm used to it now. Ah, oh, I nearly put my back plate out. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Um. Um. What do I do here? You know, like that sizzle. Can we go back a little bit to hear the sizzle? Hey, sizzle. Beautiful. Hey. Great. Yeah, no, that was a great bit of tension and animosity within that. I enjoy it when he goes into this stage of his being. But I also like his gentle stuff. It's almost like I either need it to be kind of terse sounding, or I need it to be chill and kind of poignant and upbeat. There's really no midpoint for me personally. Great sense of unison. I was about to say great sense of unison with but then I was like, wait, what is he in unison with? What is he in unison with? There's held notes, whole notes on a lot of those instruments there. Oh no, the bass guitar. He's in time with the bass guitar, never mind. Whoa. 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 He literally just screamed into his microphone then. Here's what. That was a power metal scream. That was hair metal in the 80s kind of scream. Wow, dude. Do I still like this song? I think it's one of those songs that grows on you. I think it is one of those songs that grows on you as you roll along. With this track, you know, you have to take in the elements one by one. You have to take in the bass line and the drums and the synths and all the other key elements and stuff like that. And then I just think there's so much that by the time you get to the end, you've absorbed it and you're like, yeah, no, I understand the theme. And then that just screams into the microphone. And that's basically your time with this track. And it's just, woof, woof. Big finish. Let's have a look. Anything else actually before I get off of this? What else do I want to mention about this? I think that Eason works really well within that waltz genre. I think he likes his dance steps. I also think someone mentioned that like the first, fifth, and 10th were written by the same person, so I can understand the connection a little bit tonally between them. Um, yeah. Um, yeah. I can understand that kind of angstiness. I can hear the connection between those. So it'll be interesting to see, like, with the person. I think like 2 and 9 were written by the same person. It'll be cool to see whether those stylistic treatments translate across that as well. Now, what you all been talking about in the chat, Shredders. Um, wow, we've got a team of collaborators. I mean, Western artists. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that a lot of big artists cannot afford to not sell well, so they get a lot of people involved. But sometimes they overly sterilize stuff, and then they get sick of the labels, and then they go do it alone, and they find a niche, or they just crumble and things turn to custard. You know. But yeah, Don't worry about that, Nito. It's cool, dude. No stress, no worries. It's fine. We're all busy. This is the song he sang at the Korean Mama Awards. That's dope. Yeah, I can understand why this would be a song he'd want to perform. It's one of his big ones. Exaggerate. He was a guest representing Hong Kong musicians, and he single-handedly won the entire stadium. Yeah, I can understand. I can imagine that would be the case. It's a pretty banger of a track to sing live, especially with that scream at the end. The only Cantonese, yep. And Ivan Yue says, "Oh, oh to you too, dude. Oh to you too. Oh to you too." And it's live. It is live. We are currently live. This is a live stream. So Jay says this isn't live. It is live. I'm here. I'm doing the clickies. I'm reading chats. Someone wanting attention makes sense. Pompous. Sup, Philly Zhang? How you doing? And I'm sorry, Wang. I'm sorry. I want to do some translated content for the channel, so I'm hoping people can go get behind that, but it would cost way too much money for me to translate this entire live stream. It would cost way too much money. People happy with the climax? Not happy with the scream at the end? Yep. And unexpected spiciness. Eason said everywhere he goes, people want him to sing this haha. Yeah, I can imagine that would be the case. Oh. Oh, okay. The song isn't live. I get you, Jay. That's cool. No, I don't think it is. Yeah, and Aubrey Wang. Finally, we're doing Eason. After like a year of people asking me to do Eason, we're doing Eason, which is good. And Faux make that big booty, big booty. There we go. You can see that a little bit. Oh, no. No, that's enough. Exaggerated. So this is about him feeling like he's sort of like shut down and nobody will listen to him. And he's rising up from that and trying to have a presence, you know? Trying to have a presence. That's cool. You say I'm exaggerated, I don't do it because I'm scared. Thank you, RG Wright. This is exactly why I spoke to you guys about the album we was going to do. Because I want to do the albums that you guys recommend, you know? Don't forget there was someone screaming for you. Yeah, so I think this track is about Eason feeling as if nobody's noticing him, trying to find his own sort of identity, his own place in the world, going through the times where he felt like nothing and how that affected him and his motivation and his drive. Yeah, I can get behind that. I think this comes out. That last scream at the end kind of personifies it. It's him saying, "Look at me, hear me. This is who I am." Aced it. Lucas says he said in an interview. Yeah, I'd agree that I'd agree with that. It makes sense in this. It seemed like Eason was genuinely emotionally invested in the performance, and I would say Philly Zhang says I would say for Jay Chow music is more emphasized than lyrics, while for Eason or Faye lyrics are more emphasized. Well, I'm thankful that we're looking at the lyrics today. Then that's great, isn't it? Now, I don't know if I have lyrics for the next one. I do. There are some I don't. Just a reminder that there are some songs I don't have lyrics for, just because I couldn't find them, okay? But yeah, the time the grapes grow ripe. Okay, let's do this. Boom. Let's go. Track number 6.
差不多冬至，一早一晚還是有雨，當初的堅持。
To be fair though, I think that a lot of this music is arguably more diverse and unique than some of Jay Chou's earlier stuff.
現已令你很懷疑，很懷疑，你最未等到，只有這枯枝。苦戀幾多次。
Again, these extended harmonies and stuff like that, they're classy as hell and they're unpredictable. There's constant development, there's growth. There's never a moment where the track sounds like it's just phoning it in.
心栽種全力灌注，所得竟不如別個後輩收成時。這一次你真的很介意，但見旁人。
And these little tiny sub layers that you can hear down the bottom that I could hear. But if you're listening to it casually or passively, you might not. Little things I didn't need to put in there, but just add a bit more body and dimensionality to it.
情何引誘？問到何時葡萄先熟透？你要靜候，再靜候，就算失手，始終要守。
That slow dance. Cool. Great choice to come into this hook like that, like genuinely, seriously. Lots of love for slowing down like that, adding a bit more gravity to it.
留低擊傷你的石頭，從創裏吸收。也許豐收，月份尚未到，你也得接受，或者要到你將愛釀成醇酒，時機先至熟透。
Oh, spicy guitar line there. Yeah, I love the chorus effect on it, and I love the unpredictability of these little turns we're taking with these melodies and harmonies. It resolves well, but there's little bits of nuance in these tails. 錯過了春天，可會再花開？一千種戀愛，一些需要情淚灌溉，枯萎的溫柔，在最後會將回來。錯的愛，乃必經的配菜，但見旁人談情何引誘。I think that the strings are such a classy addition to it. They just add so much kind of heft to it in a weird way, even though they're filtered so that you get less low end in there. It sounds like it's floating. And there's little overdubs on the left. It just brings it so much further than its chord progression. And the I mean, like, to be fair, I'm not gonna say this track is utterly revolutionary, but even for like a ballad, it's just kind of epitomizes the best qualities of what you want within the type of music. Unexpected sort of chromatics in there. Parallels, little bits of vocal ornamentation there. Great lift there. Good job. This feels earned. Coming down for this. And finishing out that piano line. Oh. Oh, the little shimmers of the strings there with that piano, man. Damn, it's so higher level. It's so smart. Again, I'm not going to pretend this is a revolutionary structure for a track or a revolutionary style for the style of music, but I just didn't get bored. And we had repetition of the chorus hook a few times. Usually, if there wasn't that level of extra detail, I'd get bored of it, but I just wasn't. I think maybe I've just spoiled with the amount of ballads I've heard and what's on offer and having heard stuff at a level, kind of a higher level that I wanted. I can't really accept anything less than this now. Eason just smashed that form factor. It's wild, man. I think the beauty of the arrangement is that he can just be alone in the center of the stereo field, and he just still sounds just as resonant and poignant as everything else around him. And he's just got so much flexibility in parts of the studio production, but also because of just the space that's been allowed for him within his vocal range, with everything else peaked up or down. And yeah, really nailed it. Really nailed it. Lots of love for that. I don't have anything else really to complain about with this track or this album in general. It's Eason Chan, I think, going through this album today, because we're at the halfway point now, has allowed me to further understand why people really enjoy his music. It should, of course, be noted that the next 6 tracks are some of the least listened to tracks I've seen of any artist that I've reviewed. But we're nonetheless obviously going to go through them, as we're doing the entirety of U87 today, and I'm nonetheless having a fantastic time with it. I'm going to do the lyrics before I go turn off the listening thing, though. Yeah, I'll do that. Here. The time the grapes grow ripe. It's nearly the middle of winter, but it still rains all day and night. Damn, dude. Oh no, is this a love song? Is this a love song? My understanding was like he stopped doing love songs. What is this? What is this nonsense? So is it waiting for love to become mature, like not trying to rush it, not trying to rush that connection with someone? Someday try your best not to waste the tears you shed today. Keep the rock which hurt you and learn from your mistakes, perhaps. The time of harvest hasn't come, you must accept the... Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I think that's it, basically. I think it's about love and not trying to rush it or else you'll ruin it. Yeah, not again. Okay, thank you for the clarification there. You've probably told me that 2 times, Husin, but yeah. Wow, this is a lot of lyrics here. Yeah, there's a lot of lyrics. Yeah, oh, so basically he's saying, look, don't let yourself suffer. I'll be waiting for when I get the opportunity to be able to do something about this. There may not be any more beautiful meat in the future, but when your mind grows as mature as your wine does, you can still get drunk and reassure yourself. Everyone has been heartbroken. Who hasn't? Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. So I think, yeah, I can hear how there's like a kind of a caring and understanding within this track at the end. I can understand how the music relates to the lyrics. You know, when I listen through this, I think, okay, so if this is about someone looking at someone else and wondering when they're going to mature and ripen and being they're ready for picking or ready for a relationship or something like that, the flutter of the strings and stuff like that kind of, it's like a stage play or a theater show or something like that, I suppose. That's my kind of take on it, eh? Perseverance. Yeah. We're gonna go to check out what chat's been up to. After thinking about Philly, I think that Eason is probably both lyrics and music. I think the music in this is utterly sensational and doesn't need a single thing adjusted with it. I think that it's really classy, man. Really classy. I'm glad that Jay's enjoyed this track. Not so much the Luke fan. RG writes his they did pick 10 tracks out of 100 tracks. Should every album not be that though? Should every musician that releases an album not write like a lot more than they need in order to release it? Because otherwise, how do you know you're getting the best out there? You know what I mean? I'm glad that the listening parties help him to like the album more. It's good to know that. It's a shame when if you hear it once and maybe you weren't in the right mindset, or even just you hear it once and there's little things you might not notice. That's why it's good to talk about it with people and get the perspective of not necessarily my perspective, but like in general, to share the experience and kind of learn from it and learn from other people. Yeah, thank you for clarifying the love song stuff. Tracks 11 and 12 are sung in Mandarin. It'll be interesting to hear how Cantonese and Mandarin sound differently to your foreign ear, and which you prefer musically. That's okay. We can have a listen to that, eh? And Espai Unyutoni says it's an inspiring song about persevere. Oh, the internet market. What can we do? Yeah, the market is just kind of so it gives me a headache. But I suppose if you're a professional musician, you have to make stuff that sells. You know. But yeah, it'll be cool to listen through these tracks at the end as well. But yeah, I suppose we're on to track number 7 now. Now, track 7, if I remember correctly, I couldn't find lyrics for this one. So don't be mad if I can't find if I don't bring the lyrics up, okay? Google did not have lyrics for me, so I just got to roll with what Google's providing. There are lyrics in a language I couldn't understand, but not lyrics in English. Should I add? Yeah. What? Why are there harpsichords? Oh, this is good fun actually. Oh, we're going to that major lift now for whatever reason. Why though? Kind of sounds like a pantomime or like a carnival or something. What the fuck am I listening to? Is this Broadway? He exuberates like vibrant positivity and it's exhausting for me. Oh, those are cute little Mughal synths though. They're all around the place though, aren't they? Oh, they're gone now. We had something for a moment and now it's just disappeared. It's incredibly intricate, like from a compositional perspective. It's kind of fun. It's so friggin' wild though, man. It's just so like up in the air. The variety show albums, man. These variety show albums. It's like we're like acrobats throwing pianos between each other. They have that crowd lift, but I just got the strings just flinging up and down on the sides. We got that constant triplet groove there. That's been a few other tracks off of this album. Oh, nice little bit of bass rhythm.
探歌，一個樂於配合行前授課，一個只好唱歌，一個未可拿捏又語咗，一堆被牽制就全盤易錯，三個剛剛太多，三個若果同步學探歌，可有什麼舞步能容納你和我，同時地為着專不逼走我，三人行維持平衡地萬無興。
Gonna level with you guys about something really important. I have never heard a song like that before in my life. Without a word of a lie. I have never had an experience like that before. It's just so out there. How do you comprehend it? How do you comprehend it? There were 2 key changes. And he just belts out that note as if he knows how to resolve it. Just before we go check out the chat, I love Eason's freedom and flexibility creatively. I think that it takes a lot of finesse and expertise to be able to arrange and compose something like this. And I know that people have been doing composition for Eason, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, like I will note carefully and kindly that what the what was that? Tango with 3 person. Well, I can understand that now. I can understand that. So it's about like the dance with, there's like a threesome dance or something like that. Is that it? Is a threesome dance? Kind of keeping each other up in the air, you know, juggling. The third person can only sing solo. Beautiful. Beautiful. So it's about someone being cucked. Oh, good. Oh, good. Good fun. Good fun. That's the kind of musicality I want. That's it. Good. We'll take that off now. We'll check through the chat. Yeah, spicy track number 11. This was the spiciest track of them all so far. I unironically like that song. Great. That's cool. That's fun. It's difficult. This one and the fourth one has the same composer. Now that kind of does not surprise me at all. That's the super wacky stuff. The super wacky stuff. It is like a live musical, to be fair. It does sound difficult to sing, and it's very interesting. I think that hopefully you enjoyed it the second time, like I enjoyed it the first. I don't know if I'd listen to this again anytime soon, but like I can nonetheless appreciate what was being attempted here. LC says the intricacy of the composition reminds me of some of the 70s prog rock stuff like Genesis. This is fun, very rare for a Cantonese album to have stuff like this. Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine this might not have been what the labels who are working with artists like Fei Wong and Eason Chan and Jay Chow were necessarily looking for the big dollars at that point in time. But it's fine. You know, I like the fact that he had the freedom to be able to do that. He sounded funny. Yeah, he did sound... I think that was the point, though. I think it was him emoting behind the microphone. I think that's great. 3-man tango sounds awkward but fitting. Thank you. I appreciate the context, Melvin, and last first. George Lamb. Have we done George Lamb yet, or is that someone we still need to do? That smile, Ethan is doing something special with the way he does. Yeah, it's something really incredibly special, but I still need time to articulate it, I think. But good fun, guys. Good fun. What's track number 8? I don't know. It's into English, so it doesn't give me it. There's all these like weird websites where they give you like the actual song title still in the same language, but they don't translate the song title. So it's number 8. Number 8. A kazoo, guitars and drums. What the fuck? What are we doing? What are we doing? Sorry, we did not have the little squealies going down the left side. It's kind of dope though. Oh, and that animosity with that E minor chord. This sounds like it's poking me in the eardrums with those kazoos, and I'm not even that mad about it. I like the clappy claps though. They're a nice adjustment for where there would usually be a snare drum. I think a snare drum would be too sharp for a track like this. Easy to follow chord progression on those guitars. Like a fiddle or a violin or something on the time. There's like a spaghetti western or something. Great shift melodically in terms of the bass line and stuff like that in this part. Like, wow, man. And harmonica. Did he just give it 100 instruments and say spread them across an album? It does sound like a tango or something like that. It sounds like a dance track, like a Latin American dance track. Oh, in the major left there? Okay. Cool. Sorry, the kazoo, I can't take the kazoo seriously. And just those clicks, it's like the little things. It's just the little things that really sort of make it stand out. Like, when was the last time you heard actual recorded clicks in a recording? Whatever the hell that distortion on the left was. Why was there like there? Like, was he himself or something like that? Oh, dude, I have to admit that one's a pretty dope track. That's a pretty dope track. I got all the time in the world for that. Yeah, this is definitely about smoking, isn't it? It's definitely about smoking. Yeah, I feel that. Damn. Even if the ring can be saved, but you want it to be saved. So we're talking about like the smoking being a matter of life or like death for the actual relationship or the marriage itself. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely about quitting smoking. It sounds like someone who is just really just coping with their life as is without that stimulation there, you know. Um it sounded like a kind of spaghetti western kind of cowboy theme there, a person alone in a bar without a cigarette, kind of mourning the loss of it. Like they went and shot it in the desert or something like that. Um yeah. Okay. Okay. Um and I like a showdown, I suppose, between the forces between him and not him smoking and not smoking. That's it, you know. Okay, kind of draw at noon kind of vibe behind it. What's chat saying? Um, I'm like the next two out of this album. That's good. I'm glad people are liking these two tracks within the album. Bad Habits, about quitting smoking. Yeah, that's that. Yep, I got that from the lyrics, and also you can kind of hear that within the track. They were kind of on a cowboy sort of like mission to not get lung cancer. There are three producers: Alvin Leong, Eric Kwok, and Mark Louis. These three made this album happen. Of course, Easton's amazing singing skills. So did they how do I say this? Did they did one do like 1, 5, and 9, 10, and then like 2 and 9 and stuff like that? Is that how they split up the recording duties? Because if they did that with 2, then the other one would be like 5 or something like that, you know. There's 3 people producing it. But yeah. I think smoking is a thing that affects marriages nowadays, you know, especially here in New Zealand where like cigarettes are so prohibitively expensive. You know, like if you smoke, like that's a lot of food that you could give your kids, for example. So people are having to make some really interesting decisions, whether they want to like you know, whether they want to. How do I say this? We want to smoke or be able to have a better life, you know. This title means fear of death. Fear of death? Oh no. Composers and producers are also different. Ooh. 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 Okay. Alright, so they're different too. Alright, we'll figure it out as we go along. Thank you, Bolin. Thank you, Last First. And thank you, Lou. And everyone else so far. Track number 8. Let's go. No, it's track number 9, isn't it? Is it? It is, yeah. Oh, that's a funky, weird kind of smashing little tune, though. Oh, I gotta put this image requesting here. There you go. Yeah, man. It's a weird tone to the strings and the guitar parts. No, is that even a guitar? It's like a MIDI instrument, like the MIDI version of a guitar. You've got the keys as well. And it kind of reminds me of something out of like a mid-90s like PS1 game. Yeah, blues acoustic rock vibe to it. Oh, this strings now. Just strings now. I just like the la la la. That is the main vocal motif for most of it. I think that is the vocal a little bit distorted. It could be. I'll check it out later on. But if that was, I don't think it's a deliberate attempt. I don't think it's like a deliberate attempt. You could be talking about mine. You know, I don't think mine is. I think mine is okay. I'm hoping. You know, put it to the same level we had it last time. Yeah. Oh no, the album. The album you can't is getting blocked off by the thing. Oh no, that's not good. I went and goofed it up. Went and goofed it on the track on purpose. When there have been situations where I'm not supposed to be talking to chat. I'm not supposed to be talking to chat. Sorry, you guys are fine. It's a bad habit. I'm supposed to be focusing on the listening period of this. Yeah, it's so chill. Like honestly, like this music. It makes me want to kind of like to kind of relax and just sit and vibe. You know, I could sit in a lounge like jazz in like a lounge chair or something like that, and kind of sort of just kind of, how do I describe it? Just kind of take a take a nap. We've got 4 more tracks. 4 more tracks. We can do this, guys. 4 more tracks. I have been trying to sleep better. It's been good. Maybe it's just the moving house stuff, but we're fine. I'm enjoying my time with this album. Eason is one of the most relaxing musicians I've listened to. Cool, and the subtle little vocal harmonies on the left as well. Like, there's just as much effort put into the production as this is in the bigger ones. I just think it's just the weirdness of the instrument textures and tones there that are kind of maybe putting people off a little bit. Again, like repetition of these vocal melodies and the sequencing of it is absolutely gorgeous. I've got nothing but love for the way that he's approaching it. It's just so surreal and different to what people may have had at the time. Ironically, I think a lot of people like in the younger generations today might enjoy stuff like this. Like I've got a lot of students who like listening to this kind of 90s sort of synthy stuff, eh? The side panning of the vocals, I mean, like, what else? What else? Like, what even is that? Like, what even is that synth there that rolls across with the shuffle that's going on with the drums? Like, it's meticulous production wise, but I don't even know how they came up with these concepts. What? Why are we doing jazz now? Phenomenal piano for all the stuff. Back to R&B now. Yeah. And we just appreciate what's going on there. We've got a solid sort of drum groove shuffling along with the bass and the bop 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 bop. Occasionally, that sort of concept there, and we got la 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 la, and then that continuing on the pans. There's several different tracks of that, and then Eason's just in his head voice. And it's a fairly common chord progression and structure to it. It's not super revolutionary, but at the same time, um, and we've got filtering and vocals on the right. Yeah, so we do have a bit of distortion on the right side. Like kind of like it's through like a phone speaker or something like that before phone speakers were good. And even with something as heavily affected as that, he's never sleeping on it. He's never taking for granted the attention of the listener. He literally goes for the throat with each of these performances in the most loving, caring way possible. I hear this and I think, you know, did Eason think this was going to be a big track when he heard it, or did he just simply do it for the sake of having that flexibility, creatively, the ability to sort of go outside of the box and kind of make the most of it and enjoy it? All in all, man. Like, all in all, lots of respect for this. It's the production on a lot of these tracks. In fact, all of them has been damn near flawless. So it's never really a question of is it mixed and mastered well. It's whether Eason managed to carry across the emotional sort of response that he needed to throughout, and I think that he did. I think that it was very appropriate. His vocal style matched the way the music sounded. There were little bits of tension and sort of flamboyance there, but at the same time, it never, yeah. Is it special? Yeah. So we'll talk to the chat now, see how you guys are going. I'm gonna take some water though, because I'm gonna be honest and tell you that I'm gonna sleep very well tonight. Very well tonight. I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to a good sleep. First of all, Lucas fan Jacob, thank you for the donation. Means a lot. I will definitely go get a coffee, my dude. Appreciate it. Jay is the only one I know that does his own composing and producing. Yeah, I think that's true. That kind of makes me sad because I feel like most people in that position who are that successful need to be able to sort of write something from scratch and be able to perform it. I think that's like the medium, like a modicum of respect to the listener. And that might seem really kind of crappy, but let me put it this way. If I had a musician that I was going to distribute, I would want them to be able to be as good independently as they were with session musicians, because they're the person that's selling the music, right? But yeah, absolutely, Jay is very talented. I think we spoke about this. I kind of broke the bit and spoke during the listening time, which is something I'm not supposed to do. Sorry if I scared anyone off. I'm just trying to listen to the track and then talk to chat, if that makes sense. That way people don't go, oh, you need to listen to track and do chat in between. So that's what we're doing now. And I think people have been kind of okay with that. Thank you for the coffee. Is it special to the Chinese music industry? Yeah, it is. It's a little bit unusual, but I think there's probably also pockets of it in the Western stuff as well. The entire box seems out of the ox. Yeah, I like the fact that he wasn't doing it to sell a million copies. It kind of makes me respect them more because it isn't about the money necessarily. And they usually have different people doing their part in this thing. Cummins, that was something that used to happen in the very, very early 1900s, like in the probably. Why are you authorizing my stuff with SoundCloud, iLockCloud? Oh, great. That makes me nervous. I have a subscription service for some of these plugins, and it literally just told me, yo, we're making sure you can use this. And it's like, stay the hell out of that, please. I know I can use these plugins. Yeah. But it's cool. It's cool. Yeah. They used to have people write lyrics and buy songs back in the 50s and 60s, probably the 70s as well. I'm sure in like some of the major labels they have that, but like for a lot of independents, they do everything themselves. It's just part of the culture now, you know. like the DIY bootstrapping of like independent musicians all around, like, in places like the States and Europe and New Zealand and Australia and stuff. Singers need to last. A lot of musicians start to buy music after writing few music. Yeah. It's difficult. I would personally be a little bit sort of like wary about it. Like, let's just say that I could actually sing in an alternative universe, right? I would be very wary about like doing that, because if I was relying on musicians to write music for me, what happens if like lyrics for me? What happens if that musician or that lyricist just decide to bail, you know? Um, yeah. You'd be screwed, because the problem is, if the musician you're working with bails, then you're at a place where it's like, okay, I've got to find someone else. And are they the same level of create production? Have they got the same level of creativity? Do they match what you're doing? It's very difficult, and you're left in a vulnerable position, in my opinion, if you're not able to write your own stuff yourself. But I also understand that with these labels, they hire people on to be in permanent positions for the majority of a person's career, so that's fine too. There are always more composers. That's sad. That's sad. That makes me very sad. I think that competent composition is an art form. And I would like to assume that people understand that composers aren't interchangeable. Unless like you're being extremely formulaic, there are always little nuances and differences. I feel like when there's collaboration, music can get more creative. Everyone is in on it. Like how this album turned up. I also think that's why Jay kind of burnt out. Yeah, I think so too. I think that if you try it, it's why you just don't release albums unless you're in a good state. Don't worry, I haven't caught something. I've done like 20 reviews this week. 20 to 25 reviews this week. It's been absolutely ridiculous. So my throat's a little bit kind of, we're getting through it. Pop singers tend to buy lyrics, in my opinion, but many good pop singers write their own lyrics. Yeah, they do. Yep, they do. They do. Yeah, because it's like poetry, right? And just because you can play guitar and string a song together doesn't necessarily mean that you're able to write poetry or stuff that really matters to people. Different label, not just one label. Yeah, well, that's just hustling, I suppose, at the end of the day, right? Singing itself is an amazing asset and skill, haha, and if they need it to outsource the songwriting, I'm okay with that. That's cool. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, I think that if you're someone who is absolutely just friggin' exceptional, like someone who is unparalleled and unprecedented as a singer, you can get away with it. Like Whitney Houston, for example, or Michael Jackson, for example. Although Michael Jackson was also, he came up with his own songs within his own head, Yeah. Jay's a germophobic on music. It'll kill him to sing someone else's track. Yeah, well, good on him. Same here, man. Same here. I wouldn't want to sing someone else's music, like as a release, like as an original. Covers, absolutely. Like covers of songs are dope. Honestly, I think everyone needs to do covers when they're coming up. I think that's a great way to establish that you're not only capable of doing your own stuff, but that you can pay tribute to those that you grew up with and that you recognize and respect and that influenced you. But yeah, just gonna look through his lyrics now. Here, afraid of death. This is the right one, right? Or have I screwed the pooch? No, this is not the right one. This one? Oh no, do I have it? Is that it? 9? That's the correct lyrics now. Used to not. Oh, this is called Big Girl. Oh, okay. Wow. Or is this the one we're on? No, we just did that one. I'm getting a bit confused, guys. Don't worry. Yeah, it's okay. We'll get there, okay? It's alright. Be younger, I don't care. I'm just afraid of being alive. Fighting for breath a person's life is really more than a century. It saves a lot of tasks, and doing it at the end does not mean that there's a period of time. What is this song about? So is this another song about making the most of it and taking advantage of the possibilities? Oh no, this is terrible. This is like this is terrible. This sounds like a really sad song. Yeah, I think this is Afraid of Death. I think this is like terrible. This is really awful. I feel him in that performance, in that high part, kind of calling out, screaming out. It's really sad. I don't know if I like that track very much for how it made me feel. And we're gonna do Big Girl now, I suppose. Track number 10. Thanks. We got. It's interesting that with most professions we accept specialization, but with the musicians we expect the singer to also be the writer. With that logic, do we expect actors to be writers of the film too? I think it's common knowledge that a film requires more than one person. Because one person can just script himself on camera, right? Like if I make a video, I'm not making a film, am I? I'm making a video, but a film requires so many more moving pieces. So you need someone to manage that, someone to control the overarching dynamic of it, so that all those different other people involved, they know what they have to do. I think that if you were to make a film with one person writing their own script, I think it's totally possible for them to act it, absolutely. But I think there's just a common acceptance that you need more than one actor in a film, so therefore it makes sense just to have someone oversee all the different parts. Yeah, it's still a good point. It's a valid point that with professions we accept specialization. I think with art, unless it's like a big project that you just simply can't do on your own, that it's a personal thing, and you kind of either want to control it from start to finish, or you want to get help, and that's either way is fine, man. But yeah. Having said that, I prefer them to write their own songs. Same, yeah, exactly. This is why I'm taking the chat one point at a time. Lyric part might be a language thing. A lot of lyricists take months to finish a song. I agree. I can understand that. I don't understand why. I don't understand what they're doing for those months to come up with a story. But then that's because I'm not a lyricist, Rex and Sierra are good singers, but their lyrics for other pop singer are better. Oh, okay. Okay. That's cool, man. Like again, like it's totally up to like the singer at the end of the day to decide whether they want to sort of like do it all themselves or go to someone else. There's no shade either way. As long as the music's well done, that's what matters, right? That's what matters. And Mandarin and Cantonese lyrics are kind of difficult. I can only imagine, dude. I can only imagine. I think the track was trying to talk about the heavy topic. It's good to know. It's good to know. It just when I was reading it and the way it was performed, I think there was like that disconnect there, which is why I tried to do the lyrics after the track. Not coming with a story, but the way to build language. Oh, so it's just basically just proofreading it. You're kind of just proofreading a plot line, basically, if I understand it correctly. Yeah, Big Girl, track number 10. We're doing well, guys. We're doing well. We're up to track number 10, okay? Oh, this instantly sounds like yeah, this instantly sounds like a little child song.
其實係啊，係啊，你未有牙㗎，卻緊記別説謊。
Sounds like a lullaby, doesn't it?
了大牙係啊，你好嗎？你就説話㗎啦。
A little bit of ping pong delay on the vocals, which allows them to stand out a little bit. Kind of give me a Pink Floydish kind of vibe.
時光會逼你這副萬金之軀，建築世上各樣物物自序。你若決
Very gentle hi-hats or cymbals in the background.
命絕對允許人生這可怕的染缸，有所有污垢要面對。人轉眼將會大個女。
You gotta hand it to Eason. He knows how to sing in a way that's appropriate for the mood of a piece.
能變成你應愛，能變邊個人也相襯。
The softness of the various instruments in the mix matches his vocal timbre incredibly well.
願風風雨雨都可以避開，你還要戀愛，我還記得愛兒女所愛，早習慣看開，你亦容還是可愛。最重要
Oh, that bum bum bum. Great way of elongating it, not going back to the root note there. Smart move for that transition. And falsetto. Oof, felt that. And just allowing there to be space without the vocals allows you to appreciate the accompaniment with the little tingles and that bass and the really soft drums, dude. They're so fluffy. Ah, what have they got going on the guitar? Have they got an effect on the guitar? Is that a guitar? A little laugh. That's so cool, dude. I'm glad they kept that in. Oh, beautiful. And those little ethereal kind of like starry pad parts as well kind of makes it suit. It makes you want to fall asleep. It puts you to sleep, man, but in the best possible way. Oh, the effect on the guitar is absolutely appropriate. We're using an actual acoustic kit now. 16th note groove on that? The pace, man. Why has this not got a lot of love, man? This makes me really sad. It's a beautiful song. I'm gonna be honest, this is probably my favorite track off of the entire album. I love how upbeat and friendly and positive and soft and charming and gorgeous it is. Yep, that change there, that shift with a bit of tension there is a great choice. And that lift there, Yep. Oh, back up. Oh, dude, it sounds like a Disney track, dude, man. And just you get this kind of filtering ourselves out. Wow, man. Oh, dude, absolutely charming. Absolutely splendid performance there. None but love for that. Big Girl by Eason Chan. Big Girl. You don't have teeth here. Oh, it is totally his daughter. Totally his daughter. Do not lie. Oh, about to start talking. Oh, that's cute. Oh no, that's amazing, dude. That's amazing. This is such a beautiful track, man. I love this to pieces, dude. I love it to pieces, man. Life, this terrifying bloated fat has all the filth one must face. In a flash, one will be a big girl. So they're just basically telling her to be strong, I suppose, and that you'll get through this and be the best you can be. You can become whoever, still be kind and love one another. Oh. You come to remind me to have a son. What does that mean at the end? What does that mean at the end? Yes, you're smart now, you do not have an older brother. That's, I love the side of Eason. I love the side of him when he really commits to the bit of like, you know, I am showing affection and caring towards you now. This is who I am, and I want more of this with you. I love how authentic he's being throughout this entire performance. And the softness comes through with these guitar parts, the bass, piano, like the string parts and the little plicky plucks of those little music box things. It's sensational. The production's flawless. The tone is appropriate. The vocals with the story, with the structure, with the performance and everything. It's just completely like not just together. This would probably score highly with me if we were to do like a ranking or something like that. But yeah, really good, really good. What's chat been up to? I think the title of track 10 means grow to be a big girl. Arnito, thank you. I appreciate that. It makes sense. It's a song for his daughter. Thank you, SY Tony. Very gentle. Like for Jay, they would like Jay give Vincent an overall story. Wow, man, a few months is a long time, dude. How did they manage to do that when they were recording like an album a year, man? How did they manage to do that if it needs a couple of months? Jay made his mark on an Eastern album review. Oof. Oof. I do feel kind of upset if a rapper hip hop artist does not write their lyrics, although most of the time the lyrics are good. Yeah, the problem with hip hop and rap is it often is meant to be combative. Like my understanding of rap and hip hop, where it all started, what it was like a combat sport, like using like your words and everything like that. You know, it's why you have those freestyle battles where you kind of rip into the other person. And if you got someone ghostwriting lyrics for you, it sucks because you're not even like being creative. You're not even like speaking from the heart. You're choosing someone else's insults for your own, right? That's part of that is part of the excitement of it, is that it's literally you squaring up against someone else. If someone writes those rap lyrics for you, it's redundant, in my opinion. Yeah, this is my favorite track. I do have a soft spot. I like soft music. I think a lot of people misunderstand. When I say that I don't necessarily like kind of like ballads which don't have a lot of really like a lot of sparkle or zazz to them, it doesn't mean that I dislike ballads. I have just listened to so many of them at this point that I really need them to be special. I need them to have something that defines them. I need to have something that will elevate them beyond where they're at. I need to have more than just it's a ballad and it's like about love or something. I need it to have some extra kind of kick to it. And I feel like with a song like this, where it's more of a kind of a carefully developed sort of like articulation of the feeling towards the kid, it is a unique sort of perspective from my opinion. It is very close to the heart for the artist in mind. It's something I would have all the time in the world for. And RG Wright says that's why they have different lyricists like R. Lang. Yep, absolutely. I get that. I feel that. Now, we didn't actually have lyrics for number 11. I do have lyrics for number... Is it 11? Oh no, it's number 12. I don't have lyrics for number 12. I have lyrics for number 11. So that's okay. But I don't have lyrics for number 12, so I apologize about that. I know that's not necessarily what you want, but it's what we got. So let's continue. Track 11. I swear to God, if I have someone telling me I haven't been reviewing this closely enough, I'm gonna shit a brick. That again, that Disney intro with the strings and the orchestral backing and stuff like that, and just the piano and the vocals. Great accompaniment and articulation on piano line alongside the vocals.
你不要怀疑，你的美丽本来就是这样子，为什么你不选一次？对自己重视就有魅力，脸上的美丽美在一时，你却有种永恒的颜色，让世界用你的名字给美丽重新定义，美的不。
I love how his voice soars at that point in time. It works so well with the strings. It's excellent. Yeah, great unison with the piano keys here. Oh, beautiful descending melody there. Full response. Yeah, baby, that's it. Give it to me. Oh my goodness, it's such a fire track. I love it. I love it. I love it. The little flutters on the strings and the trills and stuff like that. I love it, man.
你的美丽本来就是这样子，为什么你不选一次？对自己重视就有魅力，脸上的美丽美在一时，你却有种永恒的颜色，让世界用你的名字给美丽重新。
I like the fact that it kind of everything pauses and then ba 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 those accents on the keys as well, man. Like, damn, dude. Whoa, whoa, whoa. No, no, Spotify, don't worry. I'm trying to screw with you.
美得不可思议，没什么秘密，美得
So is the piano on the left side now? Because before we had the cascading melodies on the right, and now we've flipped it.
有意思，因为你是你自己，美得不可思议。你有你微笑的方式，美得有意思。
He loves his triplet grooves. He loves his dance, his waltz rhythms. Like, I think more of this is in like a jazzy kind of triplet feel than just straight 4/4s. I could be wrong. And that adds a sense of subconscious sophistication to it. Sounds elegant. It's kind of wild we're already through this.
为的是你，是你，是你，你的至美兼具，我深信的没人注意。多年来，我们一直寻觅的是你。
Great. Ah, no. That's a bit on the nose. That is a little bit on the nose for me. I'm pretty sure that that is in the key signature of the Disney film. Disney. Da 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 da. There's a Disney song. There's a Disney song that I'm thinking of, and it finishes within that similar key signature and harmony or melody. It's too on the nose for me. I don't like how it finished. I just think they could have potentially done it slightly differently, but it's okay. We're going to have a look through the lyrics now, and then we'll go check out the chat, see what your shredder's been up to. Don't look surprised. I didn't really talk about this much outside of that, did I? Actually, before I continue. Goodness. Clearly, we have a sort of an orchestral piano articulation here. And people have asked about whether I can tell the difference between the voicings. Yeah, there are some harder consonants in this one than in previous performances, like with the Cantonese stuff. I don't really mind either way. I think that his vocals sound great with both. It's kind of weird to me that you would maybe write music differently for like a certain language, because to me, English is such a bastardization of so many different languages that we don't have that. But to hear people say, no, this type of music is more sort of to do with this type, and this type of language is more to do with this type, is kind of like a new thing for me. So I'm still getting my head around it, you know? Yeah. But it's cool, man. Outside of that, I don't know what this track is about, so I probably like to have context for it, you know? Oh, really? Oh, okay. Don't be doubtful. Oh, it's totally a thing about like a Disney princess or something like that. Someone's beautiful. Don't be in the shadow. Okay, so it's about telling someone to be confident about who they are and not live their life behind a veil. Don't use the screen to be calmed down. Your beauty are both vivid new beauty when looking for years you are looking for. Alright, so I think this track is about celebrating someone's appearance. They're like beauty inside and out. I think here we have someone who is clearly like, you be proud of yourself, you know. Don't let yourself be covered up or suffocated by it. Like, be true to yourself. That's basically it. That's what I think the elegance that I was talking about, sophistication within the track itself when we're listening through it, mirrors the quality of both the vocals well and also the story. So there is a clear connection between those two. It makes sense to me, yeah. But yeah, okay, that's the lyrics. What have you been up to in chat? Wow. Okay, we've got a bit going on here. 2 Mandarin songs. Yes. Neato. Yeah, we got them in Mandarin, so that was interesting. Disney intro is so fitting for a Miss Universe theme song. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Hopefully you did a good job of it. And Jay's not a fan of his Mandarin songs. I did like the 3rd track, Husin, you're right. And Lucas fan is the opposite. Oh, okay. I see. Oh, okay. To meet other audiences' needs. Yeah, okay. I get that. This album has lyrics from 2 greatest lyricists of Hong Kong, Albert Leung and Wyman Wing. So that's great. That's great. It's good to know. Thank you for letting me know, SY own you, Tony. I appreciate that. Not the fault of the language itself, I would say. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like for me personally, like I wouldn't risk singing in a language that I wasn't totally fluent in because I'd sound silly, right? But I think that Eason Chan sounded phenomenal in both. Wyman Wong, not Wyman Wing. Sing Mandarin. Yeah, it seems like this is a pretty huge album for people have been telling me this is a huge album. RG right, and I would believe them on that. And yeah, I the fact is most audiences tend to more easily accept songs of their mother tongue or a similar language. Yep. It's great talking about their experiences, interactions with the different languages as well. It's good to hear what you guys can speak. I mean, I speak English and a few other languages, but nothing particularly well. I don't even necessarily speak English that well. Japanese doesn't even have terms like Cantonese or Mandarin, but the songs can be explained. Yep, absolutely. Yep, you're absolutely right. I'm a little bit familiar with how Japanese does things. Japanese got like the kind of, it just has the ta, sa, you know, it's got the one sound for it, you know. Also, Japanese doesn't, yeah, there are way too many dialects. Well, that's great. That's going to be difficult for me if we come across any strange stuff, but it'll be a learning curve as well, you know. What is the truest definition of a music album in your opinion? The standard is that it's just a collection of songs which don't need to relate. I don't think this is my definition of a true album. I think an album, this is basically my definition of an album. I think an album needs to be an extension of a concept that you put throughout. An album is a way of you telling a story, kind of like a film goes through different sections, right? An album is a way of you telling a story in long form. It's basically chapters of a book. That's the way to think of an album, as chapters of a book. And when I listen to an album that has a theme, I want to hear each of those chapters in a way that makes sense to me. Like, for example, if it was about the 3 little pigs, there were 3 little pigs. The first one might be about the place before the wolf came. So, like, you're talking about pigs building houses and stuff like that. And then the second song could be like the wolf coming in and being like, oh, I'm going to blow the house down, you know? And then the third one is maybe him interacting with the straw house. And then, you know, you have like maybe 8 or 9 or 10 tracks on the album, depending on the different amount of parts. And then you just have to kind of keep similar tonalities and similar instruments throughout to kind of match with the vibe of that, or you go completely different. In my opinion, you either have all of the same instruments or most of the same instruments, or you have completely different ones to suit the actual vibe of the individual chapter. Yeah. In Hong Kong, you didn't need to speak good Mandarin. The labels will do both versions for dollars, Mandarin for the China market. The Mandarin version of Girlfriend by April Lavigne herself. And you won't find in most Chinese albums. And just to clarify and specify that I don't have an issue with people not having themed albums. I think that, like, if if you were to sort of, for example, have a very vague theme, you can get away with. That's the irony of JChal's 8th album, is that On the Run can be anything. So you can have all these songs in there. In retrospect, I understand why the songs are so random. It's because it's talking about his experiences on the run, you know? I mean, that's fine. I'm not upset about it or anything like that. But I remember also people mentioning that he wasn't allowed to do themed albums. And that made me upset and sad. Not angry, just disappointed, because it's like he's so successful. But this is Eason Chan we're talking about. And Eason Chan did a great job with this track. I do not have lyrics for this last track, but we're going to listen through it anyways, okay? And just before I do that, I think prog rock does an album like how you define it, and I like that definition too. Thank you. Yep. I think that prog rock is a bit more niche because of that. Because you have to listen through the whole album to really get all the different bits and nuance. That's what makes it difficult for people to really get into prog rock. You look at Pink Floyd, for example. Like, Pink Floyd albums, you don't just listen to one track, you listen through the whole damn thing. You know? Anyways, let's do this. Let's go. Last track. Interesting way to end it.
我看见繁华的春天，爱情如阳光闪耀。我给你我的爱，离开了我，你默默地
Yeah, great fluttering of those strings as well. We're really going for this orchestral vibe for these Mandarin tracks.
我看见往事如云烟，爱情沉重的忧愁。
I like how you can tell they're actually playing their instruments because of the interesting sort of phrasing of those string parts there. They weren't in perfect timing, which was good.
那曾经完整的美梦啊，此时此刻。
Yeah, baby, bring it up. That's what we're talking about.
你也会遗
Yeah.
憾吗
Oh, it's so. Ooh.
终于你离开了。
That minor lift there was a ballsy move, but it paid off.
带着我给
It was unpredictable.
带着我的幸福飞到了天边，到另一个世界，留下我的伤。终于你离开了我。 离开了我，你默默低头。
Like, I think I know where we're going with this. My brain's like, yes, yes, more, please, give it more, give it more, you know.
我看见往事如云烟，爱情沉重的忧愁。那依旧温暖的笑容啊，那不再提起的永恒。
Oh, a little bit of articulation, legato passage there. Okay, a little bit
那
of
曾
vocal run.
经完整的
Okay.
美梦啊，此时此刻，你也会遗憾吗？终于你离开了，带着我给你的爱。
His voice sounds a bit naked in the mix. I would have liked like a little bit of a reverb on that, just a little tiny bit of a reverb chain or something like that. It just seems like he's
带
uncovered.
着我的幸福飞到了天边，到另一个世界，留下我的伤。终于你离开了我。
The most fascinating part of this performance so far is those strings to me. I respect what's going on with the with the vocals. You know, I like some of the concepts we're doing here, but those sparkly little string bits, they're dancing around the headphones. I really enjoy
回
it.
到最深处，不该怨
And the
尤，
plucks.
是对自己的承诺。只是他不曾了解我，告诉他我还爱他。终于你离开了，带着我给你
Key
的
change?
爱。
I would argue that's how you do a successful key change. You bring us in thinking we're going back into a normal hook, and then we bring it back up again.
带着我的幸福飞到了天边，到另一个世界，留下我的伤。终于你离开我，带着我给你的爱，带着我的幸福飞到了天边，到另一个世界，留下我的伤。
There we go. We're finishing. We're finishing. I'm kind of sad to see it go, but I've had a great time with this album. Oh, and the major lift resolution there with like an oboe or something like that, like a clarinet or an oboe or something like that. Dude, no. We're not doing K say. We're doing this track here. Before I go back to chat. What are we talking about this track? It was less of a Disney sort of soundtrack than the previous one. I think that it was fine. It was less. I prefer his more sort of avant-garde experimental stuff. I'll be honest. I prefer some of his kind of weirder, kind of cutesy, kind of fluffy, fun, kind of ponderous stuff. This seemed more formulaic to me. I understand why we had the orchestral backing and the piano. It was nice and classy and reminiscent of a lot of the ballads I've heard from other musicians within this genre around this time period. But yeah, I would have preferred a little bit more sort of like reverb on his vocals. In my ears, I could hear his vocals clearly, but I can imagine that like in certain situations, it may not sound as present. That could be down to a sort of like a compression issue or something like that. But we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Basically, I'm not sure if this was the way we should have finished the album. I honestly think that we could have finished it on that 10th track. But I understand that he wanted to put a couple of Mandarin tracks at the end, and that's totally fine. U87. Hey, the album. Wow, what's chat been up to? This track is not one that felt like a demo. I didn't really like it. It says that's okay. It's okay if you don't like it. It's fine. Eason was one of the two producers for this track. Well, that's good. That's good. I'm hoping that Eason is capable of doing the kind of fanciful, kind of frenetic, kind of crazy stuff that we had on some of the other tracks, which are a little bit less kind of wild. You know, I liked some of the experimentation, originality throughout this album, and I'm hoping that Eason is not averse to that. His voice was low, mixed really low. Yeah, I'd have to listen to that through different devices, eh? Like, in my headphones, it sounded fine, but it might sound weird through cell phones, for example, or like in monitor systems or something like that. William So, that's cool. I'm not sure who that is, but I presume they're a fantastic singer. Yeah, we're not keen on the vocals in this one, are we? That's fine. Eason has a talent for language, says SYO New Tony. Other than Cantonese, he can speak English like a native speaker. He mastered Mandarin as well. He sang Japanese, Hokkien, and even Spanish songs. All right, that's phenomenal. What an incredibly talented human being, right? What an incredibly talented human being. Well done to Eason for that. Well done to Eason for that. That's dope. That's dope. I'm just gonna do something real quick. I'm gonna like can I just submit your request? No, not that one. I wanna oh no, I'm gonna be smarter. I'm gonna be smarter about it. Oh no. No. I'll figure it out later on. Okay, I'm trying to do a conclusion button so I can go listen button and then conclusion on the stream deck, but I can't do it at the moment. I'll have to do it after the stream. That's good, Ball, and I respect the fact that you don't think the production's bad or anything. I think that I don't think you should phone it in for TV credits, but I also understand if this wasn't meant to be totally revolutionary because of that. So I appreciate the context. And Elsie, I agree. And you're absolutely welcome, Lucas fan. This gave me a fresh perspective of the album. Well, it gave me a fresh perspective because, ladies and gentlemen, this is my review of Eason Chan's U87. Conclusion time, real quick. I think the stories told throughout this were fascinating. I especially like the one about his kid. That was probably my favorite one off the album. Eason's vocals were spectacular throughout. There were no weak vocal performances. I have all the time in the world for it. I think that we genuinely have someone here who has a lot of promise. A lot of promise as a we know they have a lot of promise because of how big they are, right? Honestly, a spectacular occasion for us here listening through this. You know, when I listen through this track, I think, did Eason really care? Did Eason really care about each of these tracks? And I get the impression that he did. He clearly has a great understanding of vocal technique. Like, he's comfortable within both his chest and his head voice. The falsetto sections were just as elegant and amazing as his softer, lower vocal range parts. He's definitely earned his place of affection with a lot of people who love his music. I can completely understand why people have been very keen for me to review this album. I am so sorry that it has taken me so long to review it, but I think that this was the best time to do it, as I think that this situation where I do the listening time and the conclusion time, I think that this is exactly what I need to do with album reviews in future. I will probably redo another Faye Wong album in future, just because I feel that because I didn't do it this way, I don't think I paid enough respect to Faye to do her justice. So we will most definitely be doing another Faye Wong review like this so that we get the same experience of me really sort of pushing in and getting stuck into these songs. The actual structure of each of these tracks was never the same. They were unpredictable, and that's what made them so exciting. Typically, when we did get these sort of motifs, they made sense with the lyrics and the way that Eason sang. And when I cannot sort of stress enough how much a main musical motif can either make or break an experience for the track. But I don't think there was a single track I was really disappointed by or uninterested in. If I'm completely honest, I was less fussed about tracks 11 and 12. Even from if the instrumental sort of perspective, even if the performances were engaging, I nonetheless felt a little less interested, primarily because it's a ballad format I'm used to. A lot of his weirder stuff that got less attention was way more exciting for me, because it had lots of different cute little instruments and textures and tones in the arrangement. And I can just imagine how long it would have taken for them to really craft that, and to know that those songs came from 100 tracks, 100, and they put them down to 10. It's just absolutely mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. The actual performances were stellar and top-notch. I like the fact that most, if not all, of these instruments were recorded and like in live situations with people sort of together. All the love in the world for that. I think that it's really important to have musicians play their instruments in order to get the most authentic, real, organic experience, especially when you can afford to do so. I get it for people who are starting out, hiring an entire orchestra is kind of out of the question. But I think that for people who can afford it, getting the tone of the room, getting this live sound alongside Eason, and that's why when we've done videos or sort of fan requests, I've enjoyed listening to his live stuff because you can hear the band together, and I think Eason is strongest in those parts as well. Finally, the production, recording, mixing, and mastering is one of my favorite things across this entire album, except for maybe the last two tracks, which sound a little bit less kind of interesting. I think primarily because they sound a little bit more sterilized, a little cleaner. I don't know, man. It's like I think that the last two they maybe played a little bit more safe with the arrangement and also the sound of it. Although I will agree that the vocals in track 12 may have sounded a little bit quiet. I would really have to listen through different parts. I think at the end of the day, when I listen to this song, like each of these songs, I know they've been released through a major label. I know the studio side of things has been handled. There is lots of articulation of the panning and different filtering and bits of the stereo field. Things sound nicely glued together. There's no weird resonances, apart from the kazoos. There were kazoos at one point which were sticking me in the eardrums. I'm not sure if I like the kazoos too much, but I think aside from the kazoos, I think we were fine. The limiting compression on the track was great. They were nice and loud without pumping. There was a phenomenal amount of dynamic range in here, and honestly, I cannot say enough nice stuff about it. And before I go, we'll just have another look at chat. Ballin says, I love seeing Logan going into the market. I love it too. It's good fun. I just have to deal with the people who are very upset about it. Eric. Hey Logan, greetings from Hong Kong. Thanks for reviewing Eason Chan's album. He is one of my favorite singers who accompanied me during my childhood. Eric, thank you so much for your generous donation. I thoroughly appreciate it. It's an absolute pleasure to review Eason's stuff. I can say from the bottom of my heart that I had a fantastic time listening to his material, and I am deeply privileged and grateful for the opportunity to be able to listen to it with people who want to hear me talk about it. It's wild, man. So thank you for your donation. The support is appreciated. And I look forward to listening to more of Eason Chan stuff in future, along with future album reviews, which I hope to do more of like this. And finally, SY Tony says, don't say sorry. We're all thankful for the review. Thank you so much, Logan. Thank you for picking the album I suggested. It's difficult to choose one album because he probably has 30. It's all good. Look, Shredders, it's been 2.5 hours. It's been a long, long review. Thank you for sticking with it. I personally think this is one of my strongest reviews that I've done in a while. I'm not sure if you feel the same way, but I don't know how I could have improved it otherwise. I know I was a little bit tired around the track 9 mark, but I pulled myself together and we got through it. And I believe I stand by what I've said in this review. So thank you very much for watching this live stream. This will be live streams of Eason Chan's album U87. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go and show Eason some love via his various social medias and his Spotify page. And stay cool and stay safe. And please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on. And I will catch you in the next SB live streams. Have a great weekend. Oh, we got fan requests tomorrow, okay? So fan requests, and we're going to do them like this today as well, where I do the listening time, okay? So we should get through more tracks like that, okay? All right? Anyways, Spartans out. 3,